Welcome to the lecture on gram-negative bacteria in our discussion on prokaryotes. And note the gram-negative bacteria behind me is stained with safranin after being decolorized. So these are the gram-negative bacteria that have been behind me. And this is going to be divided into proteobacteria and not proteobacteria. The proteobacteria being our largest and most diverse group of bacteria, and that they even get to be divided into 6 different categories. Okay, now it's going to be important to remember that there's 6 different categories, and that it's basically just A, B, G instead of C, D, and E, and then we have Z. But basically, if you can just remember alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon instead of A, B, C, D, E, okay, you got this. Okay, so just learn those first 5 letters. If it helps you, that's where we got the term alphabet from, is this alpha and beta being the first 2 letters of the Greek alphabet, alphabet. We even put A, B right next to each other. So A, B, gamma, D, E. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon. Remember those distinctions, and then try to use the pictures to kind of help you remember them. We're using this as a survey for gram-negative bacteria in that once we learn these diseases later on, we would have already seen these names, and so they'll be like, I saw that before. I saw listeria before. I need to know listeria. I need to know Clostridium. I need to know Bacillus anthracis. I need to know these terms because I've already seen them. All right, so alpha proteobacteria are usually nitrogen fixers, and me being the plant scientist, appreciate them. I had to study these a lot, especially the ones with rhizobium. That literally means they are in the root balls of roots, and they live in a symbiosis with the roots. And if you don't have the rhizobium fixing the nitrogen, the plant is going to be either a weed or it's not going to be growing as well as it can be. So they're not just in plants, though. There are 2 that can cause disease, and that's what this term pathogenic means. So the 2 you would really want to know are rickets, okay, and brucella. Okay, rickets, we mentioned arthropods in lab yesterday. Arthropods are insects, and because we have the term mites, that's why we're generally calling them arthropods instead of insects. But if it helps, say transmitted through the bite of an insect or arachnid. Okay, and this is the cause of several human diseases, rickets, and it's transmitted through the tick. And we have brucella as well. Again, in our beta group, we have another set of pathogenic bacteria. I would say it's probably easy to remember these based on their B distinctions here. But don't focus on memorizing which ones are which. Remember the 6 different sections, and remember the names of the bacteria that we come across. Don't try to constantly link back and forth and stress whether Neisseria is beta or epsilon. That's going to cause you hours of heartache. We want to know that there's an existence of Neisseria, and we want to know that there's an existence of beta proteobacteria. Okay, if you can link those, all the better, but really knowing them apart is actually more important. Okay, so we have Neisseria. This one is really hard to grow. I tried to grow it in the lab, and it's really hard to grow. Whooping cough. If you ever have kids, you know that you need to worry about whooping cough. And if you Google sounds of whooping cough, it's the most heartbreaking thing. It usually affects kids, and it's because they can't get the vaccine until they're a certain age. All right, and then Bucholderia, just know that it's a moist environmental colonizer. and it's very important for cystic fibrosis patients. Gamma proteobacteria, the largest and most diverse group. Also, you have the purple sulfobacteria and the pseudomonads, among others. The pathogenic kind is Legionella. Legionella can be caused by air conditioning vents. Air conditioning vents cause it to go airborne. It lives in that moisture. It's actually not communicable. I cannot give it to you by breathing on you. You can only get it through these buildings, in these old office buildings, or somewhere where it has colonized. Coxiella causes Q fever. And the pseudomonads, you might have heard of Pseudomonas, but they cause a wide variety of human diseases, of a lot of them. And if you can think of blue or green or like colorful bacteria, that's the Pseudomonas. That's the Pseudomonads. They're really colorful, they grow really fun, but they are also really hard to kill. And you need to have specialized antibiotics to target them. Delta, um, Delta proteobacteria are also fun to memorize because we have these D's just randomly put everywhere. Vibrio and Vibrio and Myxobacteria. Okay. Campylobacter and Heliobacter. You will see again and again. Heliobacter actually won a Nobel Prize. Won its scientist a Nobel Prize. He said that it causes ulcers in the stomach. Drank it and got ulcers. Took antibiotics, cured the ulcers. Okay, Nobel Prize. Zeta proteobacteria don't really need to be looked at because there's not a whole lot of them. Only a few have even been cultured. So we'll see what comes out of Zeta proteobacteria. Again, we really just need to know that this is the sixth distinction. If you want to call it Z, fine. But I would just kind of know that there's a Zeta proteobacteria out there. Finally, we have other gram-negative bacteria. They are not proteobacteria. And we have chlamydia, most common sexually transmitted disease in the US. Okay, most common chlamydia. And Spirochetes. Okay, Spirochetes can cause syphilis. Syphilis being a sexually transmitted disease as well. All right, so again, I hope you take these terms to heart and really see that we're going to see chlamydia again, we're going to see Spirochetes again, we're going to see all these names that we just saw again down the future. So please take these to memory and know the 6 different types of proteobacteria. Know that we put gram-positive bacteria, gram-negative bacteria into 2 groups. Know that archaea form another group. All right, and I'll see you in eukaryotes.